I'm very pleased to welcome you, Mr. Bartoszewski. He is the Deputy Foreign Minister of Poland, also known as the Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs. So, very welcome, to you in India and in New Delhi today. And what a wonderful time it's been that India and Poland have recently upgraded their bilateral relationship to a strategic partnership.
Yeah, it happened last year. Prime Minister Modi visited Poland as the first Indian Prime Minister for 45 years. He brought a very big team. I had the honor to accompany him, the Prime Minister, everywhere, which was a pleasure. I had an opportunity to talk to him, and we did sign indeed the strategic partnership and also the action plan. And we are now trying to realize that action plan. But agreement, partnership is one thing, and then they have to be filled in with some concrete action. So that's what we did, and that's what we're doing. So I'm here at having some bilateral talks with my Indian friends, but also, of course, attending Resina because I'm always at Resina here. And next month we've got a deputy prime minister who specializes. He's also minister for digital affairs and cyber security specialist, and he's coming here for some talks. We are having Indian military group visiting for talks soon in Poland. We are having some economic forums here later on this year, and so on. So and I had some talks with the Indian companies, big Indian companies who are involved in Poland and who want to talk us some more, and made some arrangements to meet them in Poland now. So it's very busy.
Yeah, that's true, because a lot of people perhaps do not realize that actually there are several dimensions when it comes to India-Poland bilateral relationship, and that's what the strategic partnership aims to develop. And I'm very happy to hear the developments that you just spoke about. But this is also a time, Minister, when Europe is undergoing a structural transformation in terms of a war on its eastern border. Would you like to, tell us a little bit about how Poland has emerged as a pole there, whether it's on European security, whether it's on the transatlantic alliance, whether it's on support for Ukraine? What are your views on that?
Well, I think you have to step back a little bit and say Poland in 1989 stopped being a communist country. And at that stage, we basically were a bankrupt country. But we undergone very serious transformation over the last 35 years, and by now we are G21. So it's a quite substantial achievement, and we became part of NATO, then part of the European Union. It's 21 years since we've been in the European Union, and it benefits us greatly. Poland has developed its infrastructure, its industries and services. So, and then the war in Ukraine came. In 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine. We were at the front in the first country next to the invaded country. Ukrainian-Polish border crossed 6.5 million Ukrainians escaping the war, out of which 1 million stayed in Poland. And Poland has two things we are the most fiercely attached to. One is freedom, and one is solidarity. So we show solidarity to the Ukrainians by giving this million refugees immediately social security numbers, health, access to free health, free education, and work. So they are working, making money, paying taxes, and are completely accepted. That and society, Polish society, was unified by the desire to help Ukraine in the war. Because we showed solidarity towards the civilian Ukrainians, refugees, we got lots of respect in other countries. I heard President Biden saying, well, this is an amazing thing, what we did with them. And we all of a sudden said, what we've been saying about Russia for the last 20 years was true. Nobody listened to us. And all of a sudden, people, recently President Macron said, Poles were right from the beginning. And that changed the perception in Europe. So now when the war is in the fourth year, the Europeans realized that we, the Baltic states and the Scandinavians, were right all along. Because Sweden and Finland always had this view as well. And now we became a kind of, we became a leader for help to Ukraine of all kinds. The logistical hub in southeast Poland provides 95% of everything Ukraine gets, being military, being economic, being humanitarian. So we became obviously a conduit and in a sense a leader in this support. And we spent 4.7% of our GDP, annual GDP, on helping Ukraine. I mean, the first thing we did for Ukrainians, we gave them 320 tanks. I mean, it was and then planes and then whatever else. So now we talk to our friends and neighbors in Western Europe, and we discuss what to do in the current situation. But we're included in this with the new government, which came in last December, of which I'm a part. We had this forum called the Weimar Triangle, Germany, France, and Poland. And we said, given the circumstances, we think it was a good idea to enlarge it. So we now have meetings, the three plus Foreign Minister of Spain and Foreign Minister of Italy. And then we said, let's do a format 5+1. So we co-opted the British. And all of a sudden, this format seems to be moving forward because we should have a common assessment of the situation and common goals. And one of the things we say, nothing about Ukraine without the Ukrainians, nothing about Europe without Europeans.
But sadly, that doesn't seem to be the policy of the current Trump administration. And I do see a lot of discussions happening. I mean, a lot of European leaders have gone to the White House stating their genuine concerns. But in this Trumpian world order, do you see this as, everybody talks about it as a challenge, but do you also see this as an opportunity for Europe to actually put together a new security architecture that has been lacking for many, many decades now?
It is a great opportunity because Europe was told by consecutive presidents of the United States, starting at least with Bill Clinton, following with Obama, following with Trump, first term of Trump, following by Biden, and now to President Trump again, that we must spend more money on defense, that we cannot expect free lunch. We cannot just rely on America to do everything for us while we spend money on something else. So now we've realized that that's the fact. We've realized it slightly earlier. So last year we spent 4.2% on defense, not the 2% required as of 2014. This year we're spending 4.7% on defense, and next year it's over 5% for sure. And all of a sudden Europe realized that they have to catch up. President Macron said 2 weeks ago, France should spend 5% on defense. This is a revolution. It has never happened like that. So the Germans are saying 3 to 3.5% on defense, and so on. It's the same in other parts. We now, Ursula von der Leyen announced that the European Union should spend 800 billion euros on defense industries. President Macron says, we should spend 500 billion euros.
But Minister, if you allow me to just interject here, so the statements, I've been following all the statements, the 800 billion euro fund that now Europe is trying to mobilize for defense modernization. But often we have seen that statements are not met by concrete actions on the ground. Do you see a change for that? And what are your perspectives on that particular thing? Because that's where the change really needs to be seen.
I see a complete change. I see a complete change this time because I see that the German leadership has changed. A new Chancellor, Friedrich Merz, whom I know and respect, he is serious about revamping. Germany had a fantastic industrial base, and that base stopped producing weapons. But the base exists and it has to be revamped. One of the signs or why this is real is that the share price of all defense producers in Europe went straight up, because everybody believes that is actually happening. and we are investing in our defense industry very much. We are now teaming up with various other countries to co-produce various things. We are in the meantime, we are making big purchases because Europe is not ready yet to sell us something. But yes, this is going to be, we just need a few years to get it to the level that should be, because the problem with defense industry is that it's not like producing chocolate. If you stop producing or you don't give orders for 10 years ahead, nobody would do it. This one company in Europe which survived this peace dividend era is Saab of Sweden, but that was privately owned by a billionaire family, so they could finance them and also move production to Brazil and so on. So yes, it's real, and in a few years' time we will be able to provide a very substantial military force capable of stopping Russian Federation.
I'm glad you mentioned Saab, because Saab actually made history by getting 100% FDI in the Indian defense sector for the Carl Gustav systems. And that brings me to WB Electronics, because WB Electronics has presence in India. It's also investing in the Indian defense industrial corridors. I see a lot of potential out there between India and Poland to cooperate, frankly, and that should be one of the pillars of our.
Yes, of course, I'm aware of WB Electronics' presence in India. I'm also aware, because I spoke with the Indian military. They are testing some of these products successfully in various places, which I will not mention, but I'd say it's yes, they're happy with this. We are also, Polish Army is investing in them as well, so we're going to get lots of drones from them and so on. They are very good at that. Yes, our goal in Poland, we're now the fifth biggest spender on defense in NATO.
Yes.
And we want half of this money to go in Polish arms and ammunition. So we want to produce enough so we can have half of it spent in Poland, because we want to build up the industry.
Well, I mean, that brings me to my last question, Minister, which is that, so after all this and all the upheaval in Europe and all the transformations that Europe is undergoing, and of course Poland, of course, being one of the centers there, how do you see, how do you assess the Indo-Pacific terrain? How do you assess the role of India in all of that?
Well, India is in a peculiar situation, because when I discuss these matters with the Indian security officials, they say we did not have a peace dividend ever,
Yes,
because you had Pakistan.
Yes.
The last time you fought a war with China was 2020. It's only 5 years ago. So you never fell for this delusion that there will be peace and love forever. You were always prepared.
Yes.
So you are in a very good position, and you have got very good armed forces. So, but you are a peaceful nation. You don't aim for war, but you have to be prepared.
We have to prepare.
You have to prepare, and this is the preparation. Means we don't want to have a war with Russia in 5 years, but in 5 years we'll be prepared to fight it. And that's it. We are very close to Asian countries. We are very close to Southeast Asian countries. We buy weapons from South Korea. We've got very close links with Japan. We've got very close links with the Philippines. We do not, for instance, we believe in the international rule-based order. We do not accept, we accept freedom of the seas. We do not accept that some part of some sea may only be available to one nation or the others. This is completely unacceptable to us as to India. And we share that. And it's, of course, the same concerns are other countries which are not militaristic countries, but the same thing thought is in Vietnam and in Indonesia, and it's saying no, and Singapore is no. So we think in the same way. We want to prevent war, but that means also, that's why we also having lots of links with Southeast Asia and in India. India is a big, huge country, the largest democracy, and has a big role to play. And that's why we are close to India. We will put partner to India because Indians understand the risks. They never were naive. And now we have to face this world which is reconfigured somehow, and we want to make sure that we don't go back to the spheres of influence that the strongest take everybody who is slightly weaker or much weaker. It's not in India's interest either. India benefited greatly from the fact that there is a international rule of law, and you can trade freely and you can invest without much problem. And this is...
I'm very happy you said that, because the very purpose of a healthy bilateral relationship is to actually maximize the convergences and minimize the divergences while respecting each other's point of view. So on that note, thank you so much for speaking to The Print. And this was the Deputy Foreign Minister of Poland, and very honored to have you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.